Welcome to a Shinn Show. Joining me, Guy Shinn from Denver. Hello, brother Guy.
Hello.
Sarah Shinn and Nicholas Shinn from Omaha. Hello, Sarah and Nicholas.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Exactly. What time is it really in the grand scheme of things? Does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care?
Time is relative.
It is.
11:13 Mountain Time.
11:13 Mountain. Got it. Okay. Hey, so how was everyone's week? Let's start with you, Guy.
Good week. I hurt my back a little bit. I tweaked it a little, but I don't know if you guys know the latest. I'm having surgery on February 5th. They're going to replace a disc in my neck.
No, I didn't know that. That's
now you know.
Yes, I thought you had to be.
Posted.
Are you going to be under 200 pounds by then?
I should be. Yeah, I'm at 201 right now.
Nice.
That's less than me.
That's progress. Well done.
Yeah. How about you guys this week? Let's hear about it.
I had a bunch of stuff on my to-do list, and I got everything but one thing checked off. So I am a successful adult this week.
Oh, very good. Depending on what the one thing that you didn't get checked off was,
Well, the thing that I didn't get checked off is an indicator of past failure. So here in Omaha, they have like a week after Christmas that you can take your live Christmas trees to a soccer field and drop them off for free.
Yeah.
I missed that window.
Oh,
and
I see.
So my tree that I dragged on into the driveway to put on top of my car to take to the lot is still sitting in the driveway.
I see.
So the one thing on my list that I didn't get checked off was to drag it to the backyard.
Oh, well, at least it's still going to be festive in your driveway, though.
Yeah. You can't even see it right now. It's under snow. So that's my motivation for not moving it. I'm like, nobody can see it. It's a lump.
Okay.
I'm just going to say, Dad, that from the camera angle
yeah.
of your little webcam, you look evil.
He does. I thought so too. It's like a vampire looking thing going on.
You're looking down on it, like the light's coming up to your face, like you're holding a flashlight, telling a scary story.
Well,
it doesn't help that you've got like a red background. Too.
Yeah, it is. We mean to paint this basement. What can I tell you?
You look like some kind of torture chamber executive type. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. It's not by design that I look this way, but I can't, ultimately do anything about it. And at the end of the day, from many perspectives, I am evil. So I guess it's all fitting.
There you go.
No worries.
There you have it.
Well, I had a good week, too. Can't really say much about it, but it was good. I managed to wake up on the right side of the bed every day and am relatively still healthy. So that's all the good news from the Washington, D.C. area. Lots of interesting news this week, starting with just yesterday. Our president made an announcement that he's willing to make a deal on the border wall. He's going to go ahead and trade temporary protections for people who came to this country basically as young people, not without a lot of choice in the matter, and who have grown up here and have made contributions as citizens. Going to give them 3 years of exemption in exchange for $5.7 billion in border wall funding.
Oh. The art of the deal.
Well said. Now,
Pelosi doesn't think he's a very good deal maker.
Who doesn't think he's a very good deal maker?
Pelosi.
Oh, well, she doesn't, does she? But you know what? Here's the thing that I would say about his proposal, which my observation is the far right hates it. The Democrats hate it, which means that it's probably grounds for a compromise. There's a lot of people that hate it, so it should be pretty good.
Everybody hates it. Sounds good.
Sounds good. We'll have new writing on Monday.
That's the art of compromise. Everybody is a loser. Most people think that compromise results in a win-win. Not so. Compromise results in a lose-lose. It's collaboration that creates a win-win, and who's got time for that? No one.
Right. Not our government.
Heck no. Hey, whatever you did.
You guys happen to see them fighting on YouTube?
What about YouTube?
You can watch Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump and Schumer and Mike Pence having a sit down. It's all on YouTube.
Yeah, they did that publicly, but that was some weeks ago, wasn't it? Or are they doing something new?
I don't know. I don't know when that was, but I watched it on YouTube. I also watched his address last night on YouTube, and it sounded like he was willing to compromise as long as he gets his way.
I'll concede.
That's
only if I win.
I'll tell you what, that's my kind of compromise. Look, I'm willing to do whatever it is that you want as long as you give me everything I want.
That's an American compromise.
It is. It sure is. It's the American way. So that's one piece of news that emerged this week. Another piece of interesting news that came out is that Michael Cohen, President Trump's former attorney, said that the president directed him to lie to Congress about negotiations to build a Trump Tower in Moscow. Now, if true, and Robert Mueller's office issued a statement saying that the report on BuzzFeed that indicated that it was true was inaccurate, whatever that means. It didn't say what part of the story was inaccurate, just that parts of it were inaccurate. But the bottom line is that suborning perjury is a felony. And so it's a serious accusation. No word what will actually come up, but it certainly raises the stakes for Mueller's eventual report, for sure.
Picture it didn't happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Picture it didn't happen, indeed.
So I've been listening to this Watergate podcast, right?
Which one?
This is Slow Burn.
Okay.
I'm listening to Bagman next.
Okay,
because
good.
I've listened to Slow Burn.
Yes.
But it's interesting that basically Watergate wouldn't have been, like, the president wouldn't have been indicated if he didn't have that secret recording system.
That's
Like,
true.
sure, there were people who said eventually, yeah, Nixon told me to do this, or yeah, Nixon did this, but it is ultimately their word against the word of the executive leader. And I don't know, it's interesting seeing this happen. So these accusations against Trump happen. And I can't help but think, there's no secret recording system this time. Who knows?
You're saying that none of that, the whole Watergate scandal would never have been exposed if there weren't.
I don't know that it would have gone down the way it did.
Like he wouldn't have been punished for it.
He wasn't punished for it.
Didn't he have to resign?
He did have to resign.
But that there was no criminal.
Didn't he cry and then fly off into the sunset in a helicopter after he fucking resigned or
yes,
some shit?
That was Bill Clinton, wasn't it?
No. Bill Clinton.
That was Nixon?
Yeah, Nixon. Bill Clinton didn't resign, yo. I mean, come on. Where's your recent history? No.
Hey, recording didn't happen.
Secret. Well, I mean, and that is essentially what you're saying, Sarah, is that picture it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And in Nixon's case, it was secret smoking gun recording tapes, or it didn't happen. And there was a big legal fight over whether he would release those tapes. Ultimately, he was compelled to. But in the final analysis, you have a very valid point, which is unless there's some sort of secret recording, some sort of smoking gun, very difficult to convict or to really pin anything on the executive branch.
Hey, when Clinton was impeached, he just didn't. You can be impeached and still keep your job.
Yeah, he was impeached. He wasn't convicted. Basically, an impeachment is essentially an indictment. It's not a conviction. An impeachment is an indictment. Then it takes the Senate to convict. And you got to have 2/3 of senators to get that conviction.
Okay, but wouldn't you imagine that it's almost more likely nowadays that there would be some kind of recording system in place than it would back then? It'd be a lot easier to just record. You don't even need to have shit in the same room anymore to record what people are saying.
Well, maybe, but so what happened with Nixon is that during this congressional inquiry, there was a couple different investigations into Nixon. It started with the banking committee, and then it went eventually to a congressional investigation. And I don't remember when exactly it happened, but they were questioning the senator, who eventually was like, "Well, I guess you guys already know about Nixon's recording system." And the two guys who were interviewing him had very good poker faces, but no, the committee did not know about these
secret recording system. Yes.
Yeah.
So all of that went down, by the way, in 1973 and 1974. So it really is an extraordinary period of U.S. history. But that being said, you're right, Sarah. Nixon was never as such punished. He did have to give up his office. And what's even more extraordinary about that is that he and Agnew won re-election in 1972 by, at that time, the biggest landslide in presidential history. And so,
like 45% or something.
Try this. Try from an electoral college point of view. Nixon and Agnew won every state in the union with the exception of Massachusetts. Every single one, with the exception of Massachusetts.
That's insane.
Yeah, and then they were out of office, both of them, by August of 74.
Well, Massachusetts was on the ball.
Well, they're right. Well, good for them. Let's hear it for Massachusetts.
Good for them. Good job, Massachusetts.
I do think it's interesting.
Guy said something about Massachusetts.
I said, can we get a whoa, Massachusetts?
I still didn't understand that.
Whoa, Homer Simpson. Can we get a whoa, Simpsons here?
Whoa, Massachusetts. Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, that took a lot, but it was so worth it, I think.
Yeah, so I do think it's interesting. So Watergate was huge in the DC area during the re-election years.
What do you mean Watergate was huge during the re-election years?
From a report, like the reporters and stuff were big into it, but your average layman didn't know or didn't care about it. The news wasn't as prevalent, I guess, as I feel like the investigation with Trump is today. And
you're incorrect, actually, in some ways. I mean,
okay.
Here's what is correct. What is correct is that the Republican base didn't care. Nixon and Agnew could have shot a man on Fifth Avenue, and it wouldn't have been a big deal to them. Okay, so that
they wanted somebody who would get stuff done.
But the Republican base is not the majority of the American people, and you've got to keep in mind that the Senate Watergate hearings were televised every single day. That's one of my first memories of watching TV, along with the space program, is watching the Senate Watergate hearings and hearing.
Didn't those happen after he was reelected, though?
Yeah, those happened after he was
before
Watergate happened during the reelection campaign.
There was investigations before his reelection campaign.
The Watergate break-in happened as a result of them trying to get dirt on McGovern, you see. So it happened during the reelection campaign. So
all right.
So let's get our history straight. Let's not say anything that's completely and grotesquely inaccurate.
Oh, because we've never done that before.
Goodness gracious.
No pics. Anyway, pics or it didn't happen. That's really the bottom line here.
Yeah,
that's the moral of the story.
Well, so here's the other moral of the story, which is that it resulted in the first political joke I can ever remember, which is this. Nixon says to Ford, "You want to be president?" And Ford says, "Pardon?"
I like it.
Yeah. So
classic.
Yeah, classic. Exactly. Classic. But anyway, all of this is to say that the investigation into the Trump administration is ongoing, and who knows where it's going to lead.
Aside from all that, how do you guys feel about the issue of border security, which is, I think, his main, if I understood his address correctly, what he was trying to say is we have to secure our borders. What do you guys think about that?
I think that first off, it's just far-fetched to build some sort of giant, impenetrable Great Wall of USA across the whole southern border. So I think the focus I'm not sure what the focus should be on, but it shouldn't be on keeping people out because people are going to get in. You know what I mean? They'll just they'll find a way to get past this wall that's never going to be built. So we need to find some kind of program to encourage them to
come legally.
Register legally?
To register legally, incentivize them to do that. Make it a slightly easier process. I mean, fuck, man, I don't know, but trying to build some grand thing.
Currently, 900,000 people awaiting, 900,000 cases awaiting
adjudication.
Yeah, so I mean that's a lot of people. I think what he called
stress on our judiciary system.
Well, there's a whole separate immigration system, right? A whole separate immigration judicial system, and it is putting stress on that system.
How well staffed are these people? Has it been in his best interest to keep this immigration department well staffed and properly paid and incentivized to help these people, or are they just trying to gum it up and stop it from happening? Because then you're just going to have more illegals coming through. They're going to find a way to get over. You know what I mean? They always have.
Our immigration system has been broke for many years, I think. Along with our a lot of things in the United States have been broke for many years. And I saw an interesting article that compared Trump to Gorbachev, where they said the United States is falling under Trump like Russia fell under Gorbachev. But I think it's important to state that 2 years of a sitting president didn't cause all of these problems.
That's
true.
I
think the guy's an asshole just like the rest of the United States, but it, he can't fix 50 years of decay.
That's a
Yeah.
great point. And let me just follow up on that by saying Gorbachev was not the sole author of the fall of the Soviet Union either, right? He came on the scene trying to fix something, and it was really too late at that point. I know what article you're talking about, Guy, and I've read similar ones that suggest that the real problem in what drove the fall of the Soviet Union was nothing specifically that Gorbachev did or didn't do, but it had a lot to do with the fact that the Soviet population no longer bought that there was any sort of internal consistency with what their leaders were saying and what was happening on the ground. And so we do face a similar problem in the United States in the sense that when you no longer trust your government, then what is the point of the government? That becomes a real serious concern from a legitimacy standpoint. When the government no longer has legitimacy, do you have a government?
Neither does the media, as far as I'm concerned.
Have any legitimacy?
The media is propaganda. I mean,
it's oversaturation, man. There's just too much now. Too much. You don't know what's real and who's spinning what to what end.
Well, I mean, there's a lot more
Misinformation.
fact checking that people have to be able to do in an environment where anybody can publish anything, right?
And why would you fact check when you can simply select the set of facts that most closely attunes with your belief?
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about right there, Holmes.
I know that's right.
That's why this show serves such an important purpose, because it's
Right.
all about the facts around here. All about
All
the
about
facts.
the facts, dog. All about our facts. Personalized facts.
That we chose.
We serve them up hot.
Hot takes.
Hot
Tasty.
takes.
Now that is why I try to advocate. I have friends on both sides of the aisle pretty much, so I try not to do too much political shit just because it's soul draining.
Yes.
But I always try to encourage people, no matter what you believe, you got to make sure that whatever source you're taking as truth has legitimacy.
Yeah. Well,
But, who's going to actually listen to that? I don't know.
well, besides which, what I see as illegitimate or you see as illegitimate, somebody else may say, well, that's the gospel truth. And so this gets to Guy's question, which is, what do you think about border security? I'm for it. I don't know any sensible person who is against border security. I think
that's not the issue.
the issue is, how do you achieve it?
Is important. You're right. You can't you need to have security, period. Border security. But the way that we're suggesting doing it, it just seems a little far-fetched to me.
Well, so there's another important issue, though, which you also touched on, Guy, with the 900,000 pending cases of
Right.
people who are legitimately trying to get in, which is the other side of the coin of border security, is how do we get enough immigrants in here to keep our economy moving? Because guess what? We're not reproducing fast enough. I mean,
Did you know illegal immigrants are an economic plus? Economically speaking, they are.
I don't know about illegal immigrants, but immigration is certainly a net plus for sure.
Well, you need
I did it. Well, Murphy did a study on it in college.
People who pay taxes and aren't to drain on the economy, yes. But people that come, illegally, I mean, it costs a huge. I'll say it like Trump. It's huge.
And let me explain one reason why, right? Okay, so let's say I'm illegal and I'm being paid under the table. Well, that means there's no payroll tax, there's no Social Security tax. They miss a lot of taxes in that exchange. True or false?
No, that's very true. But how much are they being paid under the table?
Well, that's a whole separate issue, but all of this discussion speaks to how complex this problem is, which is why the idea of a wall, a one-word solution, is so appealing, at least to some.
It's not. I think it's more than a wall. You got to have, if I understood what they were talking about, they want a wall for the border patrol that in portions that are specifically bad, and other measures in other areas, like thermal sensing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's not proposing that we build a wall, a 2,000-mile wall across the United States, or maybe he is.
But
from what I heard, we need walls in certain areas. We need to change the immigration system so that it's not logjam. We need to do certain things in order to fix it.
They actually already have those thermal cameras. I was watching this documentary on how people smuggle drugs over from Mexico, and they got those thermal cameras in the desert. But those drug runners, they just know how to get around them. They got scouts and shit. It's pretty crazy. They are always one step
wait a
ahead.
minute. Haven't you ever seen Predator? They just roll around in mud, and then once you're covered in mud, no thermal camera can see you.
Doesn't that work? Does that really work?
I don't know.
That works.
You need to check with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He would tell you.
But Tyler and I have been watching videos on YouTube It's called the thermal fart cam, and it's quite entertaining.
You can't hide your farts from the thermal camera.
No, you sure
That's
can.
what
The thermal camera sees all.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, a couple of big protests in D.C. There's the pro-life protest Friday, women's march on Saturday. So there you go.
Do you always stand up when you do this? Do you always stand?
Oh, yes, I always stand. Yes.
Why can't you move that? Move your mic down? But you
enjoy
talk
standing
better when you stand?
Well, I think I'm a little more nimble on my feet. You know what I'm saying? All right, well, then on to, I guess, pop culture, yes? Why not?
Popular. Let's pop some culture, dog.
Let's do it. I haven't seen any movies. Not a one.
Oh,
Me
I
either.
did.
Yeah,
I saw 2 movies this week.
What'd you see?
It was that Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston movie.
Oh, yeah, The Upside.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? I didn't even hear about that.
I heard
Well,
about
that's
it.
because you've stopped going to the movies, you see.
So, yeah, Bryan Cranston is a paraplegic and Kevin Hart is his handler. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's Life Auxiliary was the
God damn,
there's
Kevin
a whole
Hart
thing
is
on it.
so paid. He's making so much money now.
Well, okay, so Kevin Hart's a comedian, right? And I fully expected this movie to be. It got terrible reviews on
Yes.
Rotten Tomatoes,
Yes.
but I've never let that stop me.
Oh, heck no.
And I really expected it to be more slapstick than it was.
Yes.
It was actually treated pretty seriously, and I thought it was a really good movie.
Wow.
I wouldn't say top 10 or anything, but it was worth watching.
All right.
I feel a good movie that treated disability well. So how often does that happen?
Yeah, that's fine, but they should have gotten a truly disabled person to play the Bryan Cranston role. Don't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, there are
Yeah, but-
disabled actors, and they should be given roles. Absolutely.
I agree.
But are they on Bryan Cranston's level?
Well, now
Well,
that's
I can't
that's-
attest to
Of
because they're
acting?
never given roles.
I mean-
You'll never know unless somebody gives them a chance.
well, and here's the other thing. Bryan Cranston is a notoriously method actor, and so he actually went ahead and became quadriplegic. He's never going to act in any other role
He just
again.
became quadriplegic.
He sold out. He totally sold out.
So the other movie I saw was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I hear that's quite good.
Dude, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that too.
You
That's
should-
always a cool Spider-Man, concept that doesn't ever get explored in movies. Is that in the comics there was multiple universes with multiple different Spider-Men. I mean, there's always Peter Parker, and it's the same people, but different people in different universes
Yeah.
become Spider-Man. So
That's exactly what this was, and that's exactly what this explored. But the animation style was so cool. I
yeah,
don't
it
know.
looked neat. I saw a preview for it for some shit. It looked neat.
Yeah, I was talking about it to somebody earlier this week, and I was like, because the animation style was so new and the concept was fresh, and it's the same story but still told a little differently. Like I felt like a kid again going to an animated film. It was good.
That's heartwarming.
I really liked it.
Very heartwarming. I'd like to see that film. I really would. I
should.
like quality animated films. I really enjoy them.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, that's
Who
good.
doesn't?
I wish Guy could join us again because he had a review of Aquaman
He
for
does.
us.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we're dying to hear your Aquaman review, dog.
Okay, Aquaman. Yeah, I took Kyler to see Aquaman, and it was all right. I like Amber Heard soaking wet for a good portion of it, and how can you go wrong there?
Yeah,
What more can you want?
that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Amber Heard soaking wet. Oh, yeah.
What more could a man ask for? No, actually, it was fairly entertaining. I don't know if I would pay $67 to go see it again, but it was okay.
Did you spend $67 for that?
Yeah, I took Kyler, myself, and 2 of his friends, and it was $15. It was $15 for their tickets and $20 for mine.
15 apiece?
Yes, 15 apiece, and then it was $50 for snacks, $50 for dinner. So it cost me $170 to take 3 children to go see Aquaman. Welcome to Denver.
Well, that's pricey. You're right. I'm not sure any entertainment is worth that. What about the political drama contained within? There was some sort of political sort of drama. Did anybody care about that?
I guess I wasn't that enthralled with it to notice that.
He was too busy looking at what's her name? Elizabeth? Amber
Heard.
Heard?
Amber Heard. Johnny, the girl that Johnny Depp smacked around.
Ah.
I hadn't thought of her in that context, but yes, that's true. Amber Heard is indeed Johnny Depp's ex-wife.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for her, Johnny Depp has wasted all of his fortune, so she's not going to get much from him from a financial standpoint. Doesn't have much left.
She got physical and mental freedom.
Well, yeah, you can't put a price tag on that.
What was Johnny Depp some kind of twisted?
Abusive husband?
He's a
Yes.
monster. Johnny Depp's a monster.
I don't
know about all
but he
of
smacked
that, but
his
I did see the video, and it did look like he was smacking her around.
So that's.
I was just going to
The
say
courts-
picture. It didn't happen, but
the courts agreed with you.
Yes, the courts did agree with you. And the fact of the matter is that Johnny Depp has just become one of these parodies of himself that is just, he has become a grotesque parody of himself.
Yeah. I remember someone was mentioning after he did some whatever movie it was he did, it was just like, I'm never going to be one of those big, blockbuster actors. I'm just trying to keep it a low profile, make my money, enjoy my art. But then after he did Pirates of the Caribbean, that motherfucker couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
he became that thing he didn't want to be. And now he's so rich and
he's not so rich. He thought he was so rich that he could buy anything, but it turns out that even a seemingly infinite supply of money can be pissed away.
Yeah. Yeah.
$2 million
$500,000 worth of wine every month.
$2 million worth of wine every month will do that to you.
Oh, it's $2 million. Excuse me. I thought it was 500,000.
Yeah.
That was $500,000.
Doesn't matter. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is, especially when you consider that independent studies show that $2 Chuck is just as good as, a $45 Cabernet, much less a $4,500 Cabernet.
I didn't ever really care for Johnny Depp anyway. I didn't think he was that great of an actor.
Yeah, I thought he was merely okay. I mean,
handling the thing with Keith Richards and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Anyway, so much for Johnny Depp. So, Aquaman, okay. The Upside, okay. Maybe a little better than okay. Surprise feel-good hit of the winter. The Upside, yes, absolutely.
I did watch a movie on Netflix that was worth a peek. It was called Close. It had Noomi Rapace.
Yeah, Naomi Rapace.
That was in The Hornet's Nest or whatever.
Yeah. And with the dragon tattoo and played with fire. Yeah. Well, it's called Close?
Or Close. I think it's called Close.
Okay, Close. Got it.
So yeah, it's on Netflix. It was free, and I also watched I.O.
Okay, so that's one that has been viewed as kind of not enough action or just too much talking and not enough satisfaction. What did you think about I.O.?
I enjoyed it, but I like that type of dystopian sci-fi stuff. So it was okay for me, but I could see where some people might think it's pretty slow.
Yeah.
What's the synopsis?
In addition, I read a couple of books. I'm reading Time Siege by Tung Wu or somebody like that, and After the Monsoon. Both books were pretty enjoyable.
Okay.
So.
Time Siege and After the Monsoon.
What is this movie you're talking about? I.O.?
I.O.
That's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's about two people, the last two people on Earth. One of them is a NASA scientist who's trying to recover a portion of the Earth so people can come back. And the other one is a guy who's deciding whether or not he should stay and help her or leave.
Io being one of the moons of Jupiter.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Spoiler alert, she's actually a liar, not a NASA scientist.
Oh, that is a spoiler. Whoa, my mind is blown. Well, thank you, though. I don't have to watch it now. Who wants to watch a goddamn liar?
That's what I'm talking about.
Plenty of people.
Hey, here's a show for you that I've been watching on Hulu.
Yeah?
It's called Letterkenny.
Oh, yeah. So, son Noah, who is in boot camp, is a big Letterkenny fan because he's from...
Is he really?
Oh, yeah.
I bet he is.
Yeah, he's from...
I always think of him every time I watch that show.
You should, because he's from Ontario. He turned me on to it. It's quite entertaining. And it's on Hulu now?
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Yeah, it's about...
What's it called?
Letterkenny. Yeah, it's about...
I've been watching Corner Gas, which is in Saskatchewan, and it's pretty entertaining.
Okay, so is it also about Canadian rednecks?
Yes, it is, actually.
Yeah. They exist. They do exist.
Turns out Canadians come in all kind of flavors.
It's right. They're not just urban Toronto nice guys who say polite things to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Justin Trudeau set a terrible precedent.
Yeah.
Right. They can't all be like Justin.
Progressive, the motherfucker.
What's that?
I said he's so multicultural and progressive, that motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. Well, and hunky. Let's not forget hunky.
Yeah, I mean.
That could be just my opinion.
He's no Amber Elizabeth, but that's all right.
He's no Amber.
He does his best.
He's He's no Amber Heard. I don't know. Get him soaking wet with Jason Momoa for an hour and a half, and who knows?
Who
That's
knows
true.
what's going to happen?
That's true.
All
Who
right,
can
so
say?
so much for pop culture. Let's move on to sports. Two big games today that I don't know the outcomes of. It's the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship. It's just exactly who you thought it was going to be. The 1 and 2 seeds from both conferences. So it's going to be the New England Patriots. We're going to be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead, and then we're going to have the Los Angeles Rams traveling to the friendly confines of the Mercedes Superdome to play the New Orleans Saints. Who knows who will win? Who cares in some senses? But that's going to happen at some point here today.
Wait, that's today?
That's today.
I'm interested in the outcome of the Chiefs versus the Patriots.
Yeah, well,
It was a regional curiosity.
regional
Well,
curiosity.
I just want to see if Mahomes really got that juice against Mr. Brady.
The GOAT. What's unbelievable is that New England has been in the AFC Championship for 8 or 9 times in a row.
Yeah.
They haven't won them all, but the fact that they've been, it's just unbelievable.
It's kind of like an Alabama situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
New England's the Alabama of professional football. You just know they're going to be in the semifinals at least.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, so who knows how that'll turn out. At the end of the day, I got to say, when it's the 1 and 2 seeds from both conferences, it's exactly who you thought it was all season long. It takes a lot of the drama out of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the Eagles are going to let Nick Foles go?
Yeah, I heard that. I can believe it, too, because at the end of the day, they don't need 2 quarterbacks. Well, they do.
They don't. They need one that's healthy. I
Yep.
mean, I'm not sure. I've heard a lot about Foles not being a starter or not being a finisher. Like he can't go the whole season or whatever. But, I don't know. That Carson Wentz, man, he gets hurt a lot.
That's true. He's injury prone. The last 2 seasons, he's been taken out in the final few games. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But I'm more concerned with how the Denver Broncos are going to get their shit together.
Nick Foles would be a good start.
Throw the
Yeah,
whole team away.
I agree.
Start
I
over.
agree. Just a better quarterback, man. We need some better offense.
Yeah,
The
well,
defense is good,
we'll
but
see.
Case Keenum's not cutting it.
Well, he's not. But,
And it's not just him, but,
yeah,
you
there's
need
a whole.
better-
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
spend an hour talking about the Denver Broncos. And I would because I'm a Denver
Is
Broncos
that
fan.
I think he's going to be a free agent, and I don't think Denver has the money, because John Elway fucked up and spent all this money on these fucked up quarterbacks. I don't think he's going to have the money to get Foles.
He might not. And we'll soon see. But do we really want Foles? Or do we want to draft the next Patrick Mahomes? I mean, I admit,
Yes.
Paxton Lynch was a bust. But you would think that Elway would be able to evaluate young quarterback talent.
He don't have
Yeah.
an eye for talent, man. He needs a scout. He needs a talent scout, obviously. I mean, look at the shit he's picking.
What about you, Guy? Have you volunteered your services to John?
No, I haven't. But we are on a first-name basis.
I've reached out to him several times, but I'm just getting his maid right now. He is getting a note on the fridge. I do know that.
Well, I won't tell you the stories about John Elway here in Denver, but suffice it to say they're not all positive.
Yeah, I understand. So much for football. What about the UFC? There was fight night last night, wasn't there?
Holy shit. What an
It
upset.
was good.
Yeah.
I guess. It was good, yeah.
Okay,
But,
so what was the upset?
the upset? Well, it was the championship for the 135 belt.
Nick supported Dillashaw, and
And
Dillashaw got his ass
He
beat.
did not get his ass beat. No, he did not.
Hang
Okay,
on.
he got.
First of all, TJ Dillashaw, didn't he cut a lot of weight to get to 135?
Yes, he
10
did.
pounds.
Okay.
10 pounds. All right. To fight Henry Cejudo. And
Right.
here's the things. I don't really like Henry Cejudo. He's fine. He's cool. I don't like listening to him talk. And the belt that he has right now that he got from Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, I don't think he earned that.
He did not win that fight, dude. He did not. Well, you have to beat the champion to get his belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it came down to decision, and Cejudo was looking fucked up, and Mighty Mouse was totally fine, and they just gave it to Cejudo,
I see.
which I honestly think is kind of a conspiracy, so they could close out the weight class. Because look, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson had cleared out that weight class. There
Yeah.
was nobody in that weight that he hadn't beaten, or that hadn't been beaten by someone that he had already beaten several times. So
I
there
see.
was no one who could fight him anymore. It was just Henry Cejudo. And they wanted to trade Mighty Mouse to ONE FC. So that's what they did. They gave Cejudo the belt by decision, closed out the weight class, or they're going to. And now Mighty Mouse is in ONE FC. Because regardless, whether or not that conspiracy has any merit or not, probably doesn't, but it probably does. Either way, he didn't win that fight, man. He shouldn't have got that belt. So now, fast forward, TJ Dillashaw is jumping down to his weight class because he wants 2 belts. And he lost the fight. TJ Dillashaw got because he supposedly got TKO'd in like
It was 38 seconds.
38 seconds.
38 seconds. Okay.
Into the fight. 38-second fight. So Cejudo clipped him and he kind of fell down, but he was fine. He was getting back up. And then Cejudo gave him the old 1-2 again. And then that one did rock Dillashaw, but he was still rolling into it. He still had Cejudo's leg wrapped up in his arms. And then the ref just stopped the fight. He just stopped the fight.
So I take it Dillashaw was not pleased with the stoppage.
Fuck.
Oh, no.
He was running around the ring. He was like, what the fuck? You know, understand.
Are you guys 100% sure that sport isn't fixed?
No, of course
No.
not. I think every sport that has Vegas odds
It's
is mobbed
fixed.
up for sure. Can be or
Guess
is.
what has Vegas odds now?
UFC.
Yeah, and
they've been
guess-
had
guess
Vegas
what
odds.
part of it is? The NFL.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
NFL actually has a stake in Vegas.
Yeah, they do. They do have a stake in Vegas. Yeah, so, I mean, ultimately, you know, when you take a look at sports where there's a lot of betting money involved, the prospect for
However,
corruption
the
is always
UFC
there.
It kind of seems like it's harder to fix though, because they're really hitting each other in the fucking mouth as hard as they can. Like there's a lot of blood sometimes. You know what I
But
mean?
you can see,
I
though.
have another question for you guys. How do you guys get these fights? Do you pay the UFC like $12 a month, like HBO or something?
That's a way to do it. Yeah, you can do fight.
Or do you
pass.
buy the fights?
I have
pay
Fight
for
Pass, yeah.
on YouTube.
Well, since they moved to ESPN, you can also do ESPN Plus, which is like $5 a month. I think
I see.
you can access it that way. So
That was last night was ESPN's first UFC card, by the way.
Yep.
So big thing there. Cowboys. So the point is, TJ Dillashaw lost. But he still has his belt. It's not like he lost his belt. He just didn't get.
he didn't win. He didn't win the 125 flyweight division belt.
So
On a controversial stoppage.
yeah,
I
it was
so
just
I
too
watched-
soon. Now who's not saying in 10 seconds that he wasn't gonna get knocked the fuck out for real? But I think it was just a little bit early.
So I watched the after show where Bisbing and Rashad Evans were talking with some other commentators.
Yes.
And Bisbing and Rashad both said that they were comfortable with that stoppage. They said, you know, sure, it could have gone on further, but rewatching, you can see where he goes limp, and they
He
thought
did,
that the ref did okay.
He did
So-
get rocked there at the end. Like he tried to stand back up, and then he just like you see him get hit, and he just like his eyes aren't when he's not even looking anymore. Like he's just rocked.
Yeah.
All
That
right.
did happen. Who's to say? Like I said, like in 10, if the ref just would have let it keep going, that he would have eventually just got knocked the fuck out.
Wasn't
So
that
he
Mark
just-
Goddard? Was that Mark Goddard who reffed that fight?
No, it was Kevin McDonald.
So it wasn't.
I like Mark Goddard.
It
but I
was
don't-
not the guy who says if he lives, he lives.
If
No.
he dies, he dies. That's Mario.
If I understand correctly, you guys have ESPN Plus.
Yeah, they have ESPN Plus. They must.
Officially, yeah. So,
So they in other words, they bootleg that fight somehow, guy.
Sorry, I'm a little slow on the uptake. I'm still trying to figure out how to watch it because unless I buy the UFC thing, which you can do on your tablet, I would have to go to a bar to watch it because I don't have a TV.
Well, you'd have to get ESPN Plus these days. They're the sole
Yeah.
exclusive provider of UFC content, is my understanding.
I think so, yeah.
man, how much do you think he got paid for that, dude?
A lot of fucking money.
Dana White is rolling in and out. If ESPN came to him and was like, "Yo, we want some of this,"
I did like that Cejudo called Dana White Uncle Dana. I thought that was pretty funny. Like, where's Uncle Dana at? Because Dana White left immediately because Dana White was backing Dillashaw. I thought that was funny.
Okay.
So Cowboy Cerrone was in that card too?
Cowboy Cerrone, yeah, he fought some kid.
Alexander the Great Hernandez.
Yeah, and he worked him.
Okay.
He did. He made Hernandez look young.
Do Conor McGregor and Cowboy Cerrone on there?
I'd watch it.
There's talks about that. I don't know if that's. I mean, it's definitely not official, but I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Cowboy Cerrone fight.
Oh, and Cerrone went down a weight class for this too. So he cut,
yeah,
what,
he cut
20
some weight.
pounds?
Yeah, serious weight.
Yeah, so Dillashaw only cut 10.
And yet Alexander the Great wasn't.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he was not. He got
He got some good kicks in. And so I like Cerrone. And so I was trying to watch this a little bit more closely because I didn't care so much about Cejudo and
probably
Dillashaw.
one of my top 3 favorite fighters.
Yeah, he's a
Donald
good
Cerrone.
fighter.
Cowboy?
But like,
Yeah, Cowboy Cerrone.
Mhm.
so there was two things I noticed with this fight, and that was one, that Hernandez would grab Cerrone's head so that he could try and get body shots to him.
Yeah.
Try to get him in the clinch.
Yeah, and every time they disconnected, Cerrone would throw an elbow and catch him. Like he did that at least 3 times.
He sliced his face open with those elbows.
I just thought
he kept trying to get knees. He was kneeing Cerrone in the ridge real hard in the clinch. He kept trying to get in the clinch with him, but then every time they would leave, Cerrone would just
get him with those elbows.
But my point is that you would think that after the second or third time, you would learn to throw a hand up and defend yourself against that elbow as you're disconnecting.
Yeah, because he did not learn.
No, he didn't at all.
I don't think a lot of these guys are that smart, or they wouldn't be in there getting the shit beat out of each other.
Well, there's a lot to be said about fight IQ, and Donald Cerrone has a high fight IQ.
Yeah.
So he's adaptable in the
and that's
ring.
some shit that you
and
can't really
Hernandez
see.
was not.
You know what I mean? Some people are they got the fight IQ. There's some people that you can tell that wasn't trained in them. They just knew how to fight, and then they trained.
Well,
like John Jones is one of them. Roy's
I've had the shit beat out of me more than once. Maybe I don't have a very high fight IQ, but I'm telling you what, it's not very fun.
Well, yeah, but how much did you get paid for getting shit kicked out of you?
Not. I didn't get paid anything.
Well, there you go.
You're missing a key component.
That de-incentivizes a lot lot of whoopery.
No, I'm not sure that it's
my IQ. My fight IQ just went in the toilet, didn't it?
No, I would just say this. I don't think getting paid a lot of money makes getting your ass kicked any more fun, especially after you've lost.
But that's why you do the ass kicking.
Oh, I see.
That's the thought, right? You don't go in there thinking that you're going to get your ass kicked. You go in there thinking you're going to do the ass kicking. Now, that doesn't always work out because sometimes people have black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or they have really high fight IQ. Mighty Mouse, Donald Cerrone, John Jones, roids or not, all have and those are just a couple I'm naming off the top of my head, all have very high fight IQs. They just know what they're doing. They just learn, they see what someone's doing in the cage and they adapt to it immediately in that fight.
Well, one thing I would say about Cowboy Cerrone is that, man, he doesn't take a lot of time off. I mean, that dude's always fighting.
No, and he's like, if you listen, like sometimes he's on
highly intelligent.
Podcasts. Yeah, he's real smart and he's always doing shit. And he's like a certified cave diver and shit. He has the story he tells, which is harrowing, dude. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time. He almost died in a cave and shit. But he used some crazy technique to get out. Well, he just saw the sunlight coming through the rocks and shit. But anyway, very, very intense story. The dude's smart, and he's always doing shit. He's always diving in the ocean and training for fights. He's got his own ranch now. He doesn't even train at a gym.
Yeah.
He's got Cowboys Ranch.
Well, it sounds a lot like me. You know, I'm always doing things. Going to work, coming home from work, doing a podcast. I mean, it's insane.
Going back to work.
Right.
Rinse and repeat, man. You think that shit's easy?
The last interesting thing that happened on that fight card was Paige Van Zant fought against Rachel Ostovich, and that was a pretty intense fight.
Very intense.
Van Zant was getting rolled around on the mat and getting punched in the face and all that kind of stuff, but she eventually got Ostovich in I think it was an armbar.
It was like an attempt at an armbar.
Yeah, and she tapped. It was a good fight because the girl was getting her ass kicked, turned it around, caught the other one.
Got that submission.
Oh, Paige Van Zant's a heck of a fighter. When's she going to get a title shot?
I don't know.
She just came back after breaking her arm. So this was her first fight after breaking her arm.
I think she dislocated that chick's shoulder too.
I don't know.
What it looked like.
They weren't sure. They weren't sure in the moment. And I haven't looked it up after.
It looked nasty.
The other thing that happened was, it was this heavyweight co-main. Yeah, it was the co-main.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Illegal.
So, yeah, Greg Hardy fought Alan Crowder, and Hardy kneed Crowder as he was coming. So Crowder was on the ground, and Hardy kneed him in the face, but he only had 2 points of contact, which is illegal, super illegal. Crowder won by disqualification.
I see. So was Greg Hardy, the former Dallas Cowboy, who is a notorious female abuser, domestic violence perpetrator, he got that fight DQ'd. Was he winning?
It was pretty even. He was tagging him up, but they were, it was about even. I didn't see it going either way, at that point. It was the second round.
I didn't know that he was a domestic.
Oh my gosh!
Violent.
Yeah. Do some Google research on Greg Hardy; it'll make you sick.
Yeah, I don't want to. I think I'm done talking about him then.
it's funny because he was, it shows them both in the ring as they're on both sides. It gets up in their face. They're looking at him. And everybody there was saying, like, wow, that Hardy dude just looks creepy. Looks scared. Creepy. Got a creepy look about him. And it turns out he'd be beating women's asses all the time. So.
That's right. There you go. That's creepy. I find that creepy. And criminal, by the way.
Yeah.
Criminal.
He's not going to serve time.
Apparently not. That is one thing about UFC, the dark underbelly of UFC, this domestic violence piece that is, these guys and gals who are willing to get in the ring and beat ass and get their ass beat, they're violent people.
You can say that about almost any sport, particularly the NFL, too.
Well, yeah.
It's every other month, dog, there's some video of one player or another on another team dragging some unconscious woman out of an elevator or tackling her in a hotel lobby.
Right. I'm not laughing at that behavior. I'm laughing at your characterization of it because you're right. It does seem like that.
Yeah, these are facts, man.
But I'm also laughing because not every sport is like that. You don't hear a lot of gymnasts doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, you don't really hear that.
No. What you hear about gymnasts? You hear about the doctors and trainers diddling the girls who are doing the gymnastics.
Right. Well, so you're right. Every sport has a dark underbelly. That, in fact, a gymnast, or not a gymnast, kind of same thing. An amateur ice skater, a U.S. champion. Well, I can't recall his name. 33 years old, just offed himself. Yeah,
because he was accused of molesting somebody either on his team or something like that.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah.
That's why he killed himself?
That's why he killed himself.
I thought he was just sad. No. I guess he was sad over.
He diddled somebody, got caught, and then decided to commit suicide. So I feel real bad for him.
Well, hold on now. What if we don't know the facts here. What if he was just accused of that and then his wife found out and left him and took the kids and now he's losing his fucking job and he didn't even do that?
I think suicide is sort of an admission of guilt.
Yeah. I kind of agree too.
It's unfortunate.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Nick, is that if that's happening to you, I understand that suicide is appealing, but
heck yeah.
regardless, go get help. I know it's not that easy either.
Wow. A suicide judger right here. That's what we've got.
No, I try to be like one local guy said.
The classic suicide shamer.
That's me. I guess I'm taking that role.
Yeah, and here's why. Here's why we're classic suicide shamers as Shinns. We all have a tendency to live beyond our useful shelf life, right? And so as a result, we feel like people who take their own lives early have got to be crazy because we're all going to die if we're Shinns before we're 60 years old. So why would you possibly kill yourself? Your life's short anyway.
We do have a short life expectancy span. However, I think that we can avoid that if we take care of ourselves. I'm not saying that I do, but I think if I did take care of myself, I might longevity maybe in my future.
Well, I hope so.
One of us has got to live past 60, just statistically speaking.
Well, you're right. Who knows which one of us it'll be? It's very exciting. I can't wait to find out. That's why I can't kill myself.
Pete, you're in the best health.
Past 60?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. She won.
Who?
Amy.
Well, Amy's past 60. Actually, past 70.
Okay. Now we're changing the rules.
This is a classic case of goalpost moving, by the way. Yeah. All right. So anyway, tough break for that figure skater, but sounds like a good slate of bouts on the card last night. All right, Guy, you got anything?
Nope. Just again, like I said, they're closing my transformer shop, so it looks again like I have to find myself another job.
Okay, well, that's a drag.
Shit, man, I didn't hear about that.
No, because you said that before the kids signed on and before we started recording.
Yeah, in October, our corporation has adopted a Japanese XE1 program where they're leaning the corporation. So they're essentially trimming the fat from the corporation, and apparently I'm the fat.
I see.
Isn't your union goonery designed to prevent you from being dismissed summarily?
Well, I won't be fired. What'll happen is, because I'm a member of the core workforce, they'll have to redline my salary and give me another job.
Oh, well, that sounds like a reasonable problem to have then.
Yeah, however, it could be in Minnesota, it could be in Wisconsin, it could be in Michigan, it could be in Texas, it could be in New Mexico. It could be in any one of the 15 states that XL Energy does business.
I see. And do you have any say in where you might be sent?
Yeah, I'm a union steward, so I'm all gooned up and thugged up. So there's a good chance that I can call my business agent and say, hey, put me in stores, or I want to go here, I want to go there. The other good thing is that there's only 4 of us that are getting displaced. So whereas like when they closed the Valmont station, there was like 60 employees. So they had to find a spot for 60 people. So here we're in a good negotiating position because there's only 2 of us. So 2 of the guys are retiring and 2 of us still have another 10 years before we can retire. So we're in a pretty good position to negotiate. So I feel pretty good about it.
Well, perhaps they'll put you in some cushy desk job where you can perhaps oversee the contractors that they're using to replace you.
Yeah, there was talk about that. The other thing is that they are actually hiring transformer mechanics in Minneapolis. And so I've applied for that, but I don't think I'm going to go there.
I don't know. Minneapolis is a pretty cool town, although 40 below does keep the riffraff out.
Yeah, I'm good on all that. I mean, it's 60 here today, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go outside.
It's 60 degrees up there? What the fuck, man?
Yeah, it's 60 degrees in Denver. I will tell you that the temperature on the East Coast is rapidly falling. We're getting this polar vortex action. And so it was 54 degrees here this morning at like 8 a.m. and will be 19 degrees by midnight.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Well, the more I think about it, the more I'm considering Florida.
There you go.
Tell you what.
Man, Florida's
You only
got
got to deal with hurricanes.
In 15 years, man. Ain't gonna be no Florida.
I have a fun story about Minneapolis.
Yes, I'm listening.
The one time I went to Minneapolis, I went to go see a concert, and it was winter. And my sister and I went to go see if the pool was open in the hotel we were staying at.
Uh-huh.
And somehow the pool was not open, and it was down like this corridor, and the door locked behind us. So we were like, okay, but we were in a hallway. So we went down and found a door and eventually found our way to an elevator and, went to go back up to our floor. But all the elevators, like you had to put your door card in to activate the elevator, and our door card didn't work. And we were like, what the hell?
Right.
So somebody eventually came in and they took our door card and tried to do it for us because we were clearly poor damsels and in our pajamas, in our socks, clearly not.
Yeah, you're not trying to break into the joint.
Right. And he looks at our card and he goes, you're in the wrong hotel. And we're like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, your hotel's the one across the street.
Oh, yeah. So you had gone through the habit trail.
Yeah. So
when you have a word for it, it makes it sound less mystical. But to them, they traveled under some sort of underground tunnel.
Yeah. And we were in a much fancier hotel at this point. Don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Except by habit trail, obviously. So we were walking across this expansive lobby in our stocking feet as some ballroom action was going on to our left. And we just kind of waved at the receptionist, and it was snowing out, and we had to run across the street in our bare feet to get back to our hotel.
No, you didn't. You could have gone back through the habit trail.
Yeah, why didn't you just do that?
I couldn't get back down there. I don't know how the hell we got up, but we couldn't get back down.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a heartwarming tale. My tale about Minneapolis is that I went to see a concert there in 1985 or 86. It was 86, summer of 86, right before I went to alcohol rehabilitation treatment. And it was the Grateful Dead. That was the opening act, followed by Tom Petty, who stuck around and then was the backup band for Bob Dylan, who was the headliner. And this was
shit, man.
Yeah.
That would have been a fucking crazy concert.
It was crazy. Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, which is now, of course, destroyed. But the memory of my presence there will live on forever.
There you go.
Yeah. So the point is, Guy, I think you should consider Minneapolis. Why not?
I have a Minneapolis story, actually, as it turns out.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's just a YouTube video, though. It's called Crackhead on Minneapolis. So I don't even know if it said on Minneapolis, so I don't even know if it's in Minneapolis or on a street called Minneapolis.
But this is Minneapolis adjacent at this point.
Yeah, so they were, it was just 2 crackheads fighting in the street.
I got it. I have another Minneapolis story involving Prince, as a matter of fact. I was there for some training when I was a drug and alcohol counselor, matter of fact. And some friends of mine and I, actually just some friends of mine, I don't believe I went to this club called the Glam Slam, which Prince owned. And then Prince showed up and picked out one of my friends that I was traveling there with to come back to his place. And then tried to put the moves on her. She's a very attractive African-American woman. But she
tried to put the moves on her?
Well,
You're telling me she didn't?
She says she resisted. She says she wasn't impressed. And so...
Mm-hmm.
By Prince?
By Prince, yeah. Well, apparently he had a whole harem of girls, and she wasn't down with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I've solved the Echo mystery. Whenever you turn your head, Sarah, towards Nick, are you guys in the same room?
Yeah, but we're across each other though.
Yeah, but whenever she turns her head towards you, I can hear her in your mic and in her mic.
Oh, so stay here.
Maybe?
Yeah, that's why I'm in a sound booth. Really
Come
helps.
back this way.
I mean, I realize you all can't buy $4,000 sound booths, but you just have to pay attention to your placement on the mic.
Come on, Pete. You got these pockets. Get them one.
Get them each one. That's what I need to do.
Come on, dude, drop 8K.
Yeah, what kind of parent am I? Bad
Small price to pay for the podcast, dude.
one. Right, this quality production that's brought to you each week by Ziff's, a fine dining establishment in Invercargill, New Zealand, and The Throne Room, the tattoo parlor that is attached at the hip to Ziff's, also in Invercargill, New Zealand. Go get a nice brunch at Invercargill, New Zealand, and while you're there, get a great tat. And tell them the Shinn Show sent you.
Every time.
That's
Every
right.
time you go and get something to eat there, you go right over next door to the throne room and get yourself a fresh, sick tattoo, man. Every fucking time you eat there.
That's right. Boy, I can't
So
wait
you
till
really
we
got to
go.
plan this out, you know.
Yeah.
If you want big pieces, you can only go to Ziff's a couple times, so you got to order big. If you want to go there every day for lunch, you're going to have to get a bunch of little stick figures.
Yeah.
You got to plan it out yourself.
Something, because they're gonna tattoo you.
I don't think that's actually
Better
true.
have something figured out.
Yeah, you
Right?
better.
They don't fuck around with that tattoo gun.
No, they sure don't. All right, well, good talking to you, kids. Good talking to you, Guy. Thanks for joining in.
Peace out.
A Shinn Show is a production of Shinfluence. It features, the voices and opinions of the Shinn family, which are their own. You can get it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get podcasts, including Google Play Music. Boy, that fucked that all up. Anyway, point is, it's a Shinn Show. See you, kids.
Hey, has anybody
Hey.
ever told you about your resemblance to Jeff Goldblum?
Yes, many people.
I think we should try to get Jeff Goldblum on the show.
Sure. Friend of the show,
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, the last person who told me I looked like someone said I looked like Billy Bob Thornton, which I took as an insult.
Yeah, that is insulting.
First off, you don't at all. And second off, yeah, that's kind of insulting.
Well, what are you
I
going to
don't like. There's something about Billy Bob Thornton's face. It's not he's ugly, but he's just like unconventionally unattractive. You know
Like,
what I mean?
He should be attractive, but
He
he's
should, yeah, like he should
not.
be attractive, but he's just weird looking.
he's just drank too much.
I tell you what, when he was in Fargo, though, what he did in Fargo, that show, the
Yeah.
show Fargo, he was fucking phenomenal in that show.
I should watch that.
Well, we
You
all
should.
Yeah,
The
we
first
really
season
should.
is fantastic.
Well, we finished Hey Arnold, so now I'm
We need
looking
some
for a
new
grown-up
material.
show.
Hey, if you've got Amazon Prime, I recommend The Sopranos. 20th anniversary of that show. Oh, my gosh.
All right.
Yeah, I never watched that. It was, I was really young when that shit was coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you
I have
were.
Amazon Prime. I gave you my Amazon Prime information, so
Yeah.
You should watch
Yeah.
it. You're going to like it. I guarantee
all
it.
right.
All right. Well, kids,
Or
good
else.
to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
All right. Love
Stay
you.
warm.
Yeah, same to you. Love you. Bye.
Love you.
All right.
Bye.